referring to the sign going out of the church.
I love this one. Man. I love this one. Go ahead.
And Bobby Sherry asks, what's the Meissen field? The Meissen field.
The Meissen field. In fact, I remember adding to this story. I remember one of the first times I came to youth group, Bobby pointing out to the field and saying, I used to think that was called the Meissen field. Like this, because the church that Bobby and I both, kind of came to faith in, that it sits out in the country, kind of out next to a big field. And I just remember one of my first times there. He's like, yeah, I used to think that was called the Meissen field. It's because there's a little sign that hangs right at the foot of the stairs.
No, it was actually at each exit.
On the exits as you pull out of the driveway.
There's a sign that says "Welcome to the mission field," because basically, when you're going out of the driveway, you're going out into hopefully share your faith with the world. So
it's good stuff.
But Bobby, he was a rookie, so we got to cut him some slack. He didn't know what was going on at that time.
He had that enthusiasm about him, though.
No, we love you, man. Another story I have about you guys is that when you'd come to youth group and you had been working out for football and your bodies were so stiff you couldn't sit down.
Oh yeah, leg day.
You couldn't sit down and you couldn't sort of stand up. So you had to kind of sit down like Jesus at the the Lord's table, and with the lounging.
I still have days like that, but I think that's because I'm in my 30s now and I have back problems. So
yeah, and also all the trips that we took, going kayaking on the river and stuff. So
those were scary and fun. So
scary and awesome. That's still one of my number one happy place. Put me on a kayak in the river and I'm a happy man.
How long was that Facebook picture, your picture? Like 15, 20 years?
Yeah, it's still my picture. It's still my profile, baby. I love it.
Well, now it's you standing there like a professional.
Oh, okay. Against the wall.
We're doing one of these. That's you. That's your picture now. But I remember it being like the same picture of you in a kayak on one of the trips to Oklahoma. It was that from day one.
Absolutely. I also remember were you guys around when the laser tag place caught on fire?
Not when it caught fire, but we went to many Laser Quest outings.
No, Bobby, we were there, dude. We were there.
I don't remember.
I promise you, there's pictures of us.
And I have a picture of me holding the door for the firemen.
There's the fire department showed up while we were playing laser tag because it caught fire.
I don't remember that part.
Small little fire department. There's pictures of us there out in front of the fire truck.
Was that Laser Quest too? Yeah,
it was at Laser Quest in Wichita.
Yep,
I don't remember that.
I've seen the. I didn't remember it either, but I've seen the pictures. So I vaguely remember there being like a small smoke thing. And
yeah. You didn't see much, but I bet it
wasn't a huge fire.
I saw some pictures where it was like the lighting that was up in the soffit area. Some had caught fire, like a lighting or some kind of wiring or something. But it was pretty sweet.
Now, I do have a few favorite stories of mine about Chuck, but before I actually tell those stories, let's actually find out what Chuck is doing now. That way listeners kind of know the premise of how we know Chuck and what he's doing now. Yeah, I think that's a good input.
Well, I served about 12 and a half years in the youth ministry, and then I took a few years away from ministry, and now I am the lead campus minister at Missouri Western State University for Christian Campus Fellowship in St. Joseph, Missouri. So me and my wife are doing ministry. So that's what's going on here. We are on spring break, so students are all back at home. I'm keeping contact with them, doing a Bible study online.
Summer break or spring break?
Summer break, sorry.
Oh, okay, summer. I was like, wait, what? You guys get different seasons in Missouri?
We're in a different world.
But it's spring, summer here, so yeah, the weather's wild. So it does feel
summer break, and so we're heading off to high school camp at our local camp. We'll do that, and then we do junior. I do junior high next week as well. This week high school, next week junior high. So I'm still doing the camp thing, man. Even though I'm not doing youth ministry, I'm still doing youth ministry. So
I'll be honest, you haven't aged like a day since I literally last saw you, which was at Josh's wedding, I do believe.
I don't look much different, huh?
No.
I like
Let him
the
lie to
beard,
you, Chuck.
Bobby. I really
Thank
do.
you.
I can't see it very well with the black shirt, but it is looking.
That's the
good.
that's the
I
point.
got
It's got to make it look a little dense.
I got beard envy, and I can tell Josh does too.
Oh, absolutely. Are you kidding me?
I don't think
Although
Josh
Bobby
can grow a beard.
supplies, I can't. But Bobby has supplied me with enough oil that if I ever wanted to, I certainly could try. And I do get a little scruff going, but like let me tell you, this will take like 6 weeks just to get what Bobby considers like a 5 o'clock shadow. So
I've had the
yeah.
beard for going on 8 years now.
So you got your own oil and butter and wax. And
Oh man, I've got a plethora of different products that a
have you
male
tried to
can
make
use.
your own?
I have, but it just doesn't. I did make a nighttime one that was just a mint smell that was supposed to. I wanted my mustache to kind of grow in a little bit more,
Right.
and I saw a hack on Pinterest that said that if you use castor oil with mint oil, it's supposed to promote hair growth. And I wanted my mustache to just be thicker, but I'm happy with the way it is.
All right. And when my beard grew out a little bit, I actually made my own. And I thought about my brother-in-law was going to, open up a men's, type store and stuff. And I said, well, man, I'll make up some, beard butter. We can call it a bull butter, because that's what he used to always say, bull butter. And so we call it bull butter. And then the catchphrase is not meant for heifers.
Not meant for
I clued that through my wife. Okay.
Well, here you go. Here I'll show you a little picture of what I got. I can actually zoom my camera to my collection, I guess you could say.
Oh. Yeah, show it off, Bobby. Look at this magic.
Panning, just panning. Oh my.
Oh, nice.
So here it comes.
Look at that. We'll give descriptive audio for those that are just listening to it. He panned across his room and you saw
that is not all of it.
Stuff like that. What you see is a bookshelf on the bottom
that is not all of it.
book, but on the top, top and middle shelf.
That's just the oils.
3 that layers is simply ridiculous.
With oils.
You got issues.
60.
Well, what's crazy is that I've bought maybe, I would argue 25% of those. Like a lot of them were given to me from companies, or I've won them in like giveaways on YouTube.
Weird. That's crazy.
But hey, my butter collection is uncontrollable. I've had a couple beard oils made specifically for me with my scent profile. I went with one of our favorites, Chuck, Adidas Adrenaline on one of my beard oils that they had back in the Dizzy that they no longer make anymore. You remember Adidas Adrenaline?
Sure.
Oh man, one of the best colognes ever. But hey, now that some of the listeners probably know a little bit about you, I mean, they haven't even hit the tip of the iceberg yet.
Oh no!
But here, let me say this: with you guys, and even with the group that the youth ministry after Mike Campbell left the youth ministry at Crossroads, I have been I wasn't the youth minister, but I was the number one. I was number one after the youth minister, whereas absolutely. Like the youth coach, that I was kind of a pastor to the pastors, because Mike leaned on me a whole lot, and Darren after him has leaned on me quite a bit as well. So
see, before I knew you, it was Chris Sanisary before you. Like you were still a part of it, but like when I joined, it was Chris, and they were kind of trying to wing Mike in at that time. I think. Right. So I mean,
Chris is a wonderful minister, but I don't think he's a youth minister type.
No, he's definitely
doing a wonderful thing there in Virginia right now.
He's definitely a younger version of Wayne Pittman.
Hey, I came to talk about sports too, so
hey.
Oh yes, I can't wait to talk some sports.
I can't wait till we get to that. But before we get to sports, let's talk about a story.
If I had time for baseball or basketball, I could talk OU softball and football until the cows come home.
Well, there we go. That's all we need.
I'm feeling a little nervous because I'm a little outnumbered by Cowboys fans today.
For once.
I got something to add to that too, and we could talk about that later. Okay.
Okay.
I got something to share about that.
Okay. All right. I like.
Well,
it.
Chuck, Well, this first story, I hope
got on me, bro.
I hope that you don't take any type of heat from this after the story is over, because it's really not that long of a story. But if you were there, everybody that was around. Okay, you remember the video on YouTube that the preacher was talking about how he was talking about Sodom and Gomorrah and how he went to go pinch?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so it was kind of like one of those, but it was not. He didn't actually say a body part, but it was actually I was actually baptizing Jordan, right?
Okay.
And you were reading Jordan, or having Jordan he was pretty much confessing his love for the Lord and stuff like that, right? And
Right.
he was being brought into the church. And in that little spiel, what do you say, Chuck? Like, what was the whole spiel? Give me that rundown so I can kind of build up to the story.
What's that?
Like, what is it that you asked him? Well, yeah, he probably does it daily.
Believe that Jesus is the Christ?
Do you believe that Jesus is the,
Okay. And he got to that. And then when he said, I do, or he said, yes, then you got into the spiel of who was baptizing him. And then that's when you got into the whole, like, you got excited. You got to that Chuck Simmons tone of voice, like when he got excited about talking about anything it was.
All right.
But at the end of it was...
Did I misspeak something?
Yeah. At the end of the whole spiel, you got to the point and everybody was clapping. Everybody was cheering on, and then it got quiet. And then all of a sudden you go, if that don't get your wood wet.
Oh, yeah. I caught that from a preacher, man.
But he don't get your wood wet. I remember.
I would still use that, but since I got the response that I got out of you guys, I haven't used that.
Well, no, the church was quiet, and Mike thought it was the funniest thing because he was in the back in the audio area laughing. He was like, "What?"
What you got to understand is that okay. If that doesn't get
phrase. Hang on,
if that doesn't get you fired up,
yeah,
then your wood does not catch fire.
Right.
Okay?
No,
not talking about wood.
If that don't light your fire,
if that don't light your fire, then
your wood must be wet.
Your wood must be wet.
Okay.
That was the phrase, wasn't it?
Yeah.
That's what it was supposed to be, but it came out by saying if that don't get your wood wet.
Your wood wet.
Oh, I just simply shortened it.
Yeah.
That's the funny part of it.
I must have just been all excited and wanted.
You were, but that's what that was the youthfulness from you, because like you, I mean, you didn't even skip a beat. You were just kept talking.
Really? Oh,
you're like, I didn't say nothing.
Giving me a hard time about that.
But that was one of my favorite stories. But the other one was at Taking the City when you found out that I chewed. You're like, dude, that is the coolest thing. And I was like, what do you mean it's the coolest thing? You're like, people need to see stuff like that in church. Do you remember that?
It's okay.
Well, yeah, but like,
you don't have to change.
I wasn't trying to hide it, but like when you found out that I dipped, you're like, how long have you dipped? And it's kind of like Josh's response when he found out. I just wasn't like doing it around everybody. I was a closet dipper, I guess you could say.
Closet dipper. There you go.
But when you found out, you're like, dude, that is the coolest thing I have ever seen.
Oh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious.
But no, we love you, Chuck.
I miss having you guys around.
Well, hey, we miss having you around.
So what's your connection with Jordan now? Does he get on with you guys pretty much?
Well, he's been busy at his he recently got a new job, and he's gotten more responsibilities on top of being a father of 5 now, is it, Josh?
Yeah, he's got 5.
Yeah, 5.
So, and they're killing it. Ethan just graduated. Aubrey's her team took second in nationals, wasn't it?
Yeah, for drill.
For their drill. She got promoted too, I think is what I saw. So she's killing it. Yeah, Jordan's got high schoolers too. Dude, I have high schoolers.
Huh?
Mine are high schoolers.
I know. It's like I'm a generation behind.
Ugh. It's
you know my story, guys. You know my story.
It bothers
me. I wasn't 40. I wasn't until I turned 45 that I finally got married. So I'm like a generation behind my whole family. I've got nieces and nephews that have children older than mine.
Yeah, how does it feel being a let's see, Gen Xer who's raising a Gen Zer? That's got to be interesting.
Yeah, it's a trip. It's a trip.
Well, hey, I'm married.
Anna is super sweet. So
yeah, Anna's a gem. She is a gem for sure.
Well, I married a woman who already had kids, and one of her kids had a kid. So,
Oh, let's talk about that because technically,
What?
I mean, Chuck, he's a grandpa before you.
I was never a dad,
So,
so we're good.
I mean,
I'm his step grandpa. She's the cutest kid ever, though.
he's Grandpa Bob. Oh wait, sorry, just Bob.
She just calls me Bob.
Just Bob.
Bob.
She just calls me Bob.
Who's Bob?
We call everything around our house that we want to give a name to Bob.
Well, there we go.
Hear that? You're
I
always
did
on
agree.
his mind,
His
Bobby.
name's Bob.
The name Bob has
always
been
on
said
his
in every
mind.
household, so I'm okay with it.
I generally avoid it.
You avoid what? The name Bob?
Yeah, as much as I can.
But
Bob,
usually this is where
life's been good to you too.
to me,
You lost a little hair, but
I've got one little bald patch right here, like it's thinner. But my barber said it's good.
It's getting a little thinner up front too, but
yeah.
you're doing all right. It's holding
You look
steady.
good, man.
You ain't got nothing to be afraid of before, like say 55.
Sexy man.
I'd shave my head if it went any balder.
I'm still growing at about 3 feet every 2 weeks, so this head of hair is not dying anytime soon.
I try to keep it cut and close.
I have to admit, and I'm quite proud of this. I got like a whole patch of gray hair growing in underneath here. So,
I thought it was a bald spot from the camera, but it's literally a gray spot of hair. I was like, wow.
Yeah, he's seen it in person, and it's kind of funny. Like it genuinely is. It's just like a whole patch that's just gray. Just for some weird reason.
I listened to you preaching too, bro. Did you know that? We listened to it on the road when we were driving home.
Cool, thank you.
I'm still blown away that you've been at that church for 11 stinking years.
Dude, it's weird. And
that's a trip.
I don't see myself as the personality as the type to say that.
Huh?
I don't see myself as the type to do that. That's what's so crazy about it.
Hey.
Like I never would have guessed of myself to be the type of person to stay at a job for 11 years.
But you're in manhood territory there. Yeah. Good golly, anybody would want to be a minister up on Table Rock. Good night.
It is beautiful, but
it's like everybody's vacation place. But Josh lives there. Oh, excuse me. Wait a minute. JD lives there. I gotta call him JD.
You don't. I get mocked all the time on this podcast for that very thing.
I will call you Josh until the day you die, you punk.
Oh, you're just as bad as Jordan, man. You're just as bad as Jordan.
I can't call him JD. It's like I'm talking to a different person if I called him JD. It's like,
what is that? I don't even need to know your middle initial. Why just call yourself J?
J.
Oh, anyway.
Jay's kind of
I'm preparing for my writing career.
All right.
Josh was really long to sign out, so
he's gonna be like S.E. Hinton, so he's gonna be J.D. Miller.
You're gonna write a book?
Yeah, I've actually
got the title.
I've written the first chapter and a half of it, and it's kind of fun. Actually, I really enjoy.
What's the title of it again, Josh?
Will and the Way.
I thought you were also working on.
I'm also working on that with Jordan, but that one's at a standstill until Jordan gets to writing. So I'm not counting that one. I also have a book that I'm writing. I'm writing a book with Jordan called Cubs in the Wild, just about our friendship and kind of how we grew up. And the best way I want to put it is unsupervised, is how I would put our growing up.
And that was before you met Jesus.
Unsupervised. Yeah. And so it's kind of going to be about a book about the three of us kind of growing up and
sweet
building a friendship. So, but that's if Jordan will ever write in on that one. So, but the other one that I am writing, and I do have about a chapter and a half of I've written, is called Will and the Way Home. Or yeah,
is that a
Will and the Way Home?
Will and the Way?
No, sorry. So it's called Will and the Way Home. But the whole series.
Got it.
The whole series is going to be called Will and the Way. The Will and the Way series. Or Will and the Way series. And it's essentially going to be like a coming of age story. And so the first one's about a kid named Will. and I'm kind of using elements of like the area that I live in, as well as some of the childhood stuff that I grew up experiencing, as well as some of the kind of teaching elements that I want to teach now as a father to Casey and to, any potential future sons.
Right.
And so like the book is kind of this like coming of age story. So the first one is going to be about this, like I said, this kid named Will. And so some of the family dynamics that come into the story are he has an older brother that moves in kind of like BJ did in my life. And so there's some kickback that's happening in the first story because this older brother's moved in that he now has to, so a new authority figure in his life that he now has to submit to, that he doesn't agree with, that he doesn't, who wasn't raised in his household, doesn't share the same values as him, things like that. As well as his dad is a park ranger. So it was kind of like the closest thing I could get to like tapping into the area that I'm using for inspiration while still utilizing kind of that distance that I had with dad being an over-the-road truck driver. So anyways, the story is Will gets frustrated, takes his dog out into the woods. They end up crossing over the river where they're not supposed to, get lost in the woods, get into some trouble, end up getting rescued. So it's kind of one of those just adventure, get rescue stories. But ultimately, the story is going to kind of grow and watch this kid grow up. And it's really just about like there's going to be a lot of teaching elements from the dad as far as like how to just like how to be disciplined, how to be strong-willed, things like that. Like all the little lessons that you want to teach your kids
Right.
is what I'm kind of wanting to throw in there. So, but it's totally entertainment driven for me. And it's purely an outpouring of my creativity. It has no actual ties to anything. And so it's just like been free range writing. And it's been really fun.
Cool.
I'm just super slow about it.
And it sounds like Jordan's even super slower.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He's even slower. So.
Well, he's normally the number one person on here because we have a whole segment dedicated to his knowledge of sports and football.
It's true. The dude is wild about his ability to figure out which player is which based off of very
college, draft year, last team he played for. Yeah, all NFL,
football.
Okay, all right. But you guys want to start talking that stuff now?
Well, actually, before we do that, let's get into. We actually got a sponsor in our very first episode of this whole thing. Have you ever heard of Primal Beef Jerky?
Yes.
We are sponsored by Primal Beef Jerky.
I think I have.
Oh, well.
It's based out of Hutch.
Yeah, I think I've heard something about that.
Well, they're a beef jerky company based out of Hutch, and let me tell you, they have some good beef jerky.
We'll need to send you some, Chuck.
Absolutely. I love beef jerky.
Well,
that beef jerky is always too expensive, but I'm sure Primal is a good price.
Primal is a very good price.
It's a pretty good price. If you go to their website, www.feedonprimal.com, you can actually get bags. I think are $12 online. Is that right, Bobby, or is it $11?
I think it's $11 or $11.99. I'm not sure. I'll have to get back on there and look.
Yeah, $11 or $12 online. And then the best part is so $11 online per bag. Use the code Chubby at checkout. That'll get you 15% off. And then if you buy $50 worth, you actually get free shipping with it too. And so we've done the math, right? Like it's if you buy one of each bag or just buy 6 bags, it covers the free shipping and gets you the discount. It's just over $50, right?
I'm gonna actually find out exactly how much we can get a bag for. But not only that, they are located in.
I still got connections.
$10.99 a bag. So I was wrong.
Yeah, $11 a bag.
So yeah, they're $10.99 a bag. You get 15% off when you use promo code Chubby, and then you get free shipping after $50. So the equivalence of the 15% off and the free shipping is equivalent to one bag.
There you go.
As long as you spend $50.
This is a new sponsor.
So
no, this was sponsor number 1
since the
release day. Release day after episode 1, he reached out.
Primal heard
had so far.
This is 27.
27.
And then,
so professional.
this is not a professional thing. This is just,
Not
I
even close.
wanted to start this a while ago, but I knew that those two were busy and I have a love of podcasts and stuff like that. So I said,
Bobby has
hey, this is what we should try.
The work, though. Let me be clear. Bobby has done the work, even more so now when his computer crashed. Oh my goodness, dude.
I don't want to talk about it. Let's move on.
he's still traumatized. We're gonna take some time. What grief stage do you think you're in? You're past denial.
I'm changing the subject. If you visit www.feedonprimal.com and use promo code Chubby at checkout, you save 50% off your order. Our favorites, highly recommend bacon, or cracked pepper, and sweet and spicy. So and it's not too hot. It's the perfect amount of heat for you, Chuck. So we'll try to get a bag out to you.
I'm getting hungry.
I normally have a bag of it. I just didn't get to go, but I do have a snack.
I'm walking away to get my snack right now because I have one more beef stick in the fridge that I'm going to get.
You don't eat that right in front of us. That ain't right.
But what's crazy is that they're getting ready to change their name from Primal to Rage Jerky because their meat sticks are actually patented through another company called Primal Beef Sticks. So they can't use that name. So they went back through and repatented their stuff. Do
you know who's in charge of who started this up?
Yeah, his name is Bo. Jordan knew him through. Jordan used to be not a bondsman. Him and his wife at one time, and he met him through that, and ever since then, him and Jordan have really had a good relationship. And Bo is just a big supporter of the community, so he reached out and said, "Hey, I'd really like to support you guys," and sent us all these samples of jerky and then every flavor of meat stick that they've had.
Wow.
And
so it's pretty cool.
Recognizes that we're a funny crew. Look at this.
And he actually, I think he just hit 15 years just this year. I can't remember the exact day. 15 years of being saved and baptized.
Oh, let's go,
right
Bo.
So Bo's an awesome dude.
So here's the best part. When you bite into this thing, man, it is like chewing on actual, okay. No, so I don't want to say that. That's going to be gross.
Just show him that meat stick.
Like this. Look at it. It's beautiful.
That is
the
huge.
stuff that's just fat on the top. It's just cold fat. So just a little bit grease. Right. But look at that beautiful thing. And then break that bad boy open. And that's like it is tenderized meat chunks in there. So when I bite into this, it's not like I'm eating processed Slim Jim meat. It feels like it's been fresh ground beef.
Cool. You could take that camping, you could take that hunting, you could take that. That could be your road trip snack.
I got some comments, and Bo, if you're listening, I'm not trying to bypass the system, but if you're listening, hey, take it. It sweats a little weird in the package. Now that's probably because of the heat it was exposed to, but I don't know. But they're still so good. Oh man.
But we all have our favorites, and this is a list of those if you're watching. So check that out. Take a screenshot. But let's get to what Chuck wants to talk about, because he is the guest and all.
All right.
So, Chuck, my first question for you is...
He's dressed for it. Look at him.
Oklahoma. The girls are... the women's softball started today, didn't it?
Here's
what I think of the Oklahoma softball team.
Let's hear it.
They are the Alabama of softball.
Of girls, all of girls sports, I would say.
Those are strong words, Chuck Simmons. Would you like to clarify?
Well,
they are.
Everybody wants to go to Alabama. Nick Saban shows up at anybody's house and they just drool all over themselves. They just don't know what to do. He walks in and it's like, oh yeah, I'm going to Alabama. I'm there. And the reason why Alabama is constantly winning, because they recruit the best players.
Okay.
You recruit the best players, you're always going to have a good team. And I'm telling you, that Gasso, she is amazing.
Isn't she the number one home run hitter in softball?
No, we're talking the coach.
Oh, okay.
What kind of culture is she creating?
Amazing. She is a discipleship maker.
Ooh.
Those girls do Bible studies. Those girls do.
Ooh.
You need to research that,
Okay.
Josh. You would be amazed. This lady, they have baptisms on their softball team.
Yo.
All the time.
At OSU?
They had last year. They had a chant.
Or at OU, yeah.
Yeah. They had a
We're
chant.
talking Oklahoma University.
Yeah. She is any girl that plays softball wants to play for Gasso. Guaranteed.
You know what's incredible about that?
My boss actually got a meter.
Left and right. They're in the second round right now, and everybody knows they're going to be in the finals.
Yep.
You know what that says to me?
They've lost one. They've lost one freaking game all season.
That's the perfect example of what. That's a perfect example of what we're called to, though, as Christians, like as athletes, as coaches, stuff like that, to literally become the best at what we do, so that what we do, our platform, becomes that of Jesus. So, like, how cool is that? That like OU, we're talking state level Division I athletics, is making regular disciples for Christ.
Yep.
Because a devoted individual has built up that kind of a ministry. That's incredible.
Every game they center around the pitcher's mound and pray at the end of every game.
That's chills. Cool.
It's
just the guy that I took over for. He was a high school softball coach, and he got to go to a camp that she put on, and they got to mingle a little bit before he retired, and he got to come back and tell me all the stories. He just says that her mind about softball is at another level.
Yep.
Like they ruled, like I think they said 15% of their teams that they played this year.
Word, ridiculous. I mean, they're 13-0 and people all over the place. It's like, yay.
That's funny. That's got to feel good to run rule a team.
Oh man,
they were scheduled to play the Shockers, the female Shockers, right? So they had the stadium booked out. They were supposed to be playing at the new Wind Surge Stadium. Had it all booked up. That game by itself was already sold out at like 64,000 people, mainly because it's OU. The name OU brings a lot to like softball for sure, but then it got rained out, so canceled.
Dang.
UCLA was like the number 2, toward the beginning of the season. They were number 2, and everybody was talking a smack on OU and how great that UCLA was and everything. I
know everybody was scared last year for them.
I think they dropped them 13-1.
Everybody was worried last year. Because wasn't it last year?
All these girls are winning MVP of the league, and they're all coming from Oklahoma.
But wasn't it last year that they lost to the lowest seed in the tournament, and then they met them back in the finals and then swept them?
Yep, and then went all the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It was pretty crazy.
That's just softball, man. Now we could talk about football when it comes to Oklahoma. We'll go NFL later, but right now in Oklahoma, we had the suckiest season ever last year. We lost to Texas 49-0?
42-0? 49
I thought it was 49. I think it was 49.
Was it 49?
Yeah. It's like
just trying to soften the blow by a touchdown.
We barely made it into a bowl game. But I would
say since Stoops left, that the football program has kind of been swept under the rug a little bit, and they've been forgot about, even though they've been good with the dude that went to USC.
Right.
Like that's who I wanted to come to Dallas before we got this other coach, because I was not a fan of him, and that's who I was wanting to come to Dallas.
I've heard all kinds of rumors about Lincoln. I heard that. I don't even know if I could say this. Don't want to get anybody in trouble.
Don't. I was going to say, don't go getting yourself a defamation.
This is on YouTube. This
so this does go live. There's at least 3 people that watch this, including my mom.
47.
He got involved.
Regular watchers.
He got involved with some unsavory situation.
Well, I know you're one of those.
One of the reasons why he went to USC. But that being said, we don't even.
I was just hoping to have him come to Dallas. That's all I was hoping for. I wish that we would have got some younger blood in there. That's all.
The man Venable is the bomb. He is the boss. He is working that portal like nobody that you could ever imagine, man. He is going to have it. they may not win the Big 12 this year, but by the time they get into the SEC, it's going to be raging. It's
K-State's really moving up in that whole ream of talent.
Yeah. So,
but here's some fun news. Josh's niece.
We're going to be right back in the mix for the Big 12 championship.
Well, hopefully, because that was the first year you guys weren't even a contender for like 10 years straight, right?
At the very beginning, the 90s.
Well, no, I'm saying like that was 10 years in a row you guys were a contender in the Big 12 championship.
Yeah. Oh, this last one was like, we weren't even in the conversation. It was like, what?
But Josh's niece, Paige, got a scholarship to go. She got was it a nursing scholarship at Colorado with Dion?
Yeah.
Prime time.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Sweet.
I wrote on her card. I said, "Get an autograph from Primetime."
I have a son-in-law now that goes to Oklahoma. He just finished his sophomore year, so I got some connections back there.
Nice.
Oh, so that's so you don't want to get in trouble.
So I bleed Oklahoma. Sooner born, sooner bred, and when I die, I'll be sooner dead. So I bleed Oklahoma, and I always have since. It was in the 80s when I first started watching Oklahoma football. Now, talk Oklahoma, about the NFL.
Oklahoma, that's the place where the wind goes sweeping through the plains?
No,
right?
No, that's Kansas.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
I've got questions for you. I want to know your guys' thoughts on some rule changes. That kickoff rule blows my mind, but also the third quarterback rule that they're bringing back from 2010 is a pretty.
The QB3
I think it could change a lot of things in both divisions.
Well, certainly considering everything that happened with the 49ers, the QB3 rule is going to be helpful there.
For sure.
Yeah, that was heartbreaking in such a critical situation to have to watch a team just limp along like that, knowing they had no other options.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Detroit's the one that wanted that rule.
Fixed. Yeah, I'll be glad.
The Lions are the one that voted for it.
Watch Big 12, Mr. Irrelevant, lead that team.
Yes. Oh my goodness. And that kid is so cool. He's humble, but he's like feisty. He's got it in him. So.
I hope he gets, he gets it all fixed up and gets back out there, man.
Same. Let's go Brock Purdy. I'm on the Brock Purdy.
Really loves him. Yeah. This team really loves him.
Yeah.
So
makes me wonder, what do you think they'll do with Trey Lance if that's the case? I mean, obviously they're going to let him.
I thought Trey Lance was going to follow that coach. To be honest, I thought he was going to go. Was it Jacksonville? I thought that's where he was going to end up going, or not Jacksonville, Tennessee, because the offensive coordinator from 49ers went to Tennessee to be the head coach.
I don't think that Trey Lance has it. I'm sorry.
He's kind of like who was that guy that he went to? Was it the OU RG3?
Oh,
he reminds me of RG3.
He was
getting
Baylor,
hurt.
By the way.
Oh, Baylor, my bad.
Baylor, that's right.
But he got hurt. He was a good college quarterback.
Man. I thought
he was a good quarterback.
Had all the energy. I loved his personality. I still love his personality. He's a good commentator.
He's a good broadcaster. He's got a second career going. So
yep. But no, for real, you look at his career. He's a great example of how dangerous that style of gameplay.
Oh yeah.
And he didn't have that protection when he was with the Commanders.
Well, what's crazy is when one time the Ravens had 3 Heisman Trophy winners in a lineup at one time. They had RG3, Lamar Jackson, and then Ingram, all in one lineup, and they called it their jumbo package. It was crazy.
Pretty sweet.
But what about the kickoff rule? Did you see that?
What's the change on the kickoff rule?
Any fair catch inside the 25. So if I fair catch it on the 1, it gets moved to the 25 automatically.
Yeah.
That's stupid.
It's all about that protecting the players and the concussion protocol and all that jazz. They're just
I think if the kicker can kick and hit the field and have it go out where the ball, they need to get rid of the ball penalty. So if he can place that ball and put it on the 1 yard line and have it go out, it shouldn't be a penalty. It should be that's where the ball's placed.
Right.
And if you're not going to try to catch it, then that's on you.
Right. So
it is. I just think it's pretty bizarre.
It is-
Do you have any
it is
early
an ever-
predictions, Joshua or Chuck, for offensive rookie of the year?
Ooh, rookie?
What do you think?
Extremely,
Rookie of the year?
extremely early prediction of offensive rookie of the year.
Is it too early to say Bihan? Is that the safe bet though? Is it though? Because he's a running back. I don't actually think he is a safe bet.
Not many running backs are winning offensive rookie of the year. It's either quarterback or wide
Okay.
receiver.
Okay, wait. Who did Bihan go to?
Was it the Lions? They could, or Atlanta, one of the two.
Atlanta.
I think
Atlanta.
that Bryce Young will do well.
You think Bryce?
Yeah, I think
I'm rooting for the Colts rookie that they picked up. Is that Bryce Young? Richardson,
No,
yeah.
Richardson.
Oh,
He's
yeah,
the Florida.
yeah, absolutely.
I actually could see if it's not going to be Bihan, I could see it being CJ Stroud. I'm telling you,
Don't say that.
I am all in on Texans with Stroud, dude. Everybody
And
says
Texans
no.
aren't going anywhere. If your team's not going anywhere, you're just going to get beat the snot out of you, man.
Let's watch him play.
I'm just saying, talk to me about their offensive line.
You're right. I'm not going to deny that I'm not
good players
let
that
me
go
be clear.
the stinky
Let me be
teams.
clear. Offensive rookie doesn't require good
Trade.
team play. And that's what matters to me.
The only rookie that I can think of that didn't have somebody to sit behind and still succeeded would probably be Burrows. That's it. He didn't have to sit behind anybody. He went in there naturally and became a winner.
But Burrows, he's lightning in a bottle, man.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like, if he's going to Texans, they don't have anybody at all.
Well,
they don't have anybody
for him. Were decent.
Yeah. They at least had good wide receivers.
I mean, the Texans are just...
They destroyed that team.
I don't even know what happened to the Texans. They used to be a pretty decent team.
DeAndre Hopkins, gone.
Man, it's like...
Yeah, they picked it apart. That's really what happened.
Deshaun Watson, gone. But that was with...
But I will be clear. I've watched the Texans since the beginning, like since they became a merger team, and I remember from the beginning, people have always questioned their choices. I mean, do you remember that their first quarterback pick was David Carr? And then it was what was the big dramatic pick that they had where they chose Mario Williams over?
Right.
Gosh, who was it? That everyone was like, why would you go with him? He was the lesser of the pick, and it played out. You know, I mean, there've been good players that have played on that team, but yeah, they have a history of poor choices.
All right, now let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh yeah, I wasn't happy. We went to the draft.
You ain't got a whole lot to say about the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't have a whole lot to say. No. I mean, other than we were at the draft, right? And I was hoping, I thought we were going to be smart and get the tight end. We had the chance of getting the number 2 tight end,
right?
But no, we screwed the pooch and we got. I don't even want to say it. I don't want to talk about it. But I mean, hopefully, we got a decent tight end, but we could have had an even better tight end, and that's what we don't have is a tight end.
Here's what I got on the Cowboys. You ready? Yeah. I have been a diehard Cowboys fan for the longest time. Okay. I used to collect Dallas Cowboy football cards. I still have the triplets in a hard case. You know, I have, Aikman, Irving, and Emmett, and, just a diehard. And I watched him when they stunk. I watched him when they won one game. I watched him when, the highlights of seeing, Dorsett run a 99-yard, run back, run on the Washington Redskins. I mean, that was the highlight of that bad year. And man, I'm telling you what, I was a Landry fan because I love the man, and everybody did. Jerry Jones did him wrong by firing him over the phone. And I'll say that until I'm blue in the face. And then Jerry Jones he still can't find a coach that will let him run the show and all Jerry Jones cares about is the dollar. He just wants to keep, that star out there so he's making money. I don't even know if he cares to win the Super Bowl, or be in the playoffs. I think the only reason is that he wants the money that
he wants to host it.
Yeah, I'm just saying. So that's my beef on the Dallas Cowboys, is that I don't like Jerry Jones.
He's the bad nucleus for the team for sure.
That must be
with his coach picks.
They've got good players out the nose, man, but they don't have any kind of chemistry. They don't have.
This was my argument. They've been the most talented team for the past 20 years, arguably with the most talent on it, with nothing to show for it.
They got no chemistry. They don't work well together. I don't know if it's something about that star, if it goes to your head or what, but they don't work well together. What
do you think about Zeke getting kicked?
Flash of a year, and then they're nothing.
What do you think, Zeke, about getting cut? Do you think that was a good thing or a bad thing for Dallas?
I think it's good. Get rid of him.
Now, I prefer. I mean, I really didn't think that he was producing like he was, but when I looked at the stats compared between him and Derrick Henry, it blew my mind.
Huh.
They're less than 100 yards away from each other.
Pollard's won his position.
Right. I agree with that.
Won the position.
But I think it's crazy how he only has 100 yards. I think it's less than 100 yards than Derrick Henry in all rushing yards, and Derrick Henry has rushed for 3 times as many times than Zeke.
Where's he at now?
He's a free agent. Dallas was trying to actually talk to him and get him back.
Okay. I didn't know if he landed somewhere.
No, I mean, right now he's technically, I think, still listed as a Dallas Cowboy because he's under contract. They just cut him because he's still getting, I think he still has like 2 or 3 years still left on the contract that he was originally given.
There's something going down there in Dallas. I don't exactly know what it is.
The best thing to happen to Dallas is our defensive linebacker. That was the best thing that's happened to the defense for sure.
At the end of the day, do you think it comes down to just the pride of the owner and that trickling down?
Maybe it just trickles down, man. Maybe it trickles down.
It's the micromanagement of the owner. I wouldn't say
and that's what I mean by the pride of him, though, in the fact that it has to be his way, and so because it's always the Jerry Jones way, that nothing can really thrive unless it perfectly fits the Jerry Jones way, and nothing perfectly fits the Jerry Jones way.
Well, and the thing is, you can't keep a coach. All you got is mealy-mouthed coaches that, aren't doing anything because they've got Jerry riding over his shoulder. He only hires yes men. Jimmy Johnson, was doing fantastic things, and he couldn't handle it because he couldn't have enough of the power. Jimmy was
why he left.
Jimmy was getting all the power.
Yep.
And then right after that, you had Bill.
Cowboys.
Bill
Jones is the Cowboys.
Not Bill Belichick. Bill. The one right before Wade Phillips.
Right.
Like he was the last great coach that the Dallas Cowboys had that was actually doing what he was supposed to do until Jerry stepped in, and then he said, "See, I'm retiring early."
Right.
And then we hired Wade Phillips, which I actually think was an underrated coach defensively, in my opinion. He just had Jerry Jones hovering over him the whole time.
And then
Garrett was a
joke. That was a joke.
And so
he's clap happy. Oh,
and McCarthy, he's not.
I don't like McCarthy. I haven't liked McCarthy even when he was at Green Bay. I wanted Sean Payton.
Oh yeah, that would have been a sweet thing. I was watching.
We work on getting Shanahan. Get Shanahan away from the 49ers.
I don't think that we can afford Shanahan.
So you've heard my beef against the Cowboys. I have to say, with a father-in-law and a wife and a city that hosts the Kansas City Chiefs spring workouts.
And having lived in Kansas for how much of your life?
I have to admit, guys, I've started giving my attention to the Kansas City Chiefs. Bobby, I've
never disliked the Chiefs. So, I'll watch the Chiefs for sure. My dad watched them.
I mean, I get to
good, Dad.
see them every year because they come to our campus to have their what is it, spring training?
Spring training.
They're spring training.
OTAs.
OTAs, yeah. So my daughter was yelling, her and a friend were yelling at Patrick Mahomes and just yelling at him while he was, in the, playing the game. And finally he went down to take a snap. And just before he took the snap, he put his hand behind his head and he went like this to my daughter and her friend.
That's so cute.
So man, yeah.
The Chiefs, I think the Chiefs
and I'm
are
not
just
like
fun to watch.
Winning. I like them because
they have good chemistry.
Organization is solid.
Oh my goodness, they have good chemistry.
Yeah.
Bobby, wouldn't you want that kind of chemistry at the Dallas Cowboys?
Yeah, but it says everything about the coach right there. Like the coach allows the chemistry to actually give birth. Like nobody's got a good attitude in Dallas when you talk to him. Like it's always something negative.
Those guys
Travis Kelce's a great example to me of what Andy Reid does to a player. Because when Travis came into the league, he was still very immature. You could see it in his behavior. You could see it in the flags he would get. I mean, do you remember the time when Travis got booted because he picked up the flag?
Oh yeah, he was a troubled player.
Yeah, he was trouble his first 2 years, and Andy just does not condone that, and he calls it out and he corrects it. And the culture that's created there is because again, kind of like we're talking about, it triples down from what leadership allows.
Absolutely.
And Andy Reid and Veach and Hunt, they don't they call the Chiefs. That's one of the things I love about the Chiefs organization is, to me, it's one of the most character driven organizations that I've seen. Now,
it says a lot about the coach when you have all the other coaches that are successful that have been under you. So the Eagles head coach, McCarthy was under Reid at one point. I mean, you've got how many head coaches that are in the NFL that at one time were under Andy Reid and learned all of his philosophies about why he does what he does.
Well, and he's such a great man, and I love it because when he talks about it, he's always talking about how he's building better men. And that's what he's out to do. They're there to play football. They're there to win.
A lot of times coaches don't talk that in the NFL.
Yeah.
That's college football.
Yeah, you're right. That is more college.
Mentoring men is a college football term. Usually when you get into the NFL, coaches back off from that. But man, Reid has stayed with that.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, your top coaches are Andy Reid, Sean Payton. I mean, Bill Belichick has that mentality, but he doesn't have the attitude to have a conversation with an individual one-on-one.
Come on, man. Players have bad-mouthed him because of the...
Oh, right. But I'm saying, he's such a successful coach because he knows what he wants and people respect that when they're on his team.
And look at the very few that badmouth Andy Reid.
Just one. McCoy. I can only think of one. Le'Veon Bell. That's it.
Le'Veon Bell. Didn't Shady McCoy say some stuff?
I don't think so. I think just Le'Veon Bell said, I will never play for the Chiefs, even if they paid me blah, blah, blah.
Le'Veon said that. I was pretty sure Shady had said something, but it's surprise, surprise. It's guys that have had character issues, who have off-the-field issues, who do not like a coach who calls them on their crap, who says, that's not the kind of men we are here.
But what I like about Reid, too, is he lets the players play.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they have fun with it.
His playbook is built around his players' talents.
Why is Patrick Mahomes successful? He's playing football like he's playing football in somebody's backyard.
That's all he's doing. He's playing backyard ball. And Andy sets up the situation every time to make it feel like backyard ball.
He's putting up jump shots.
Well, here's a question for Chuck. Do you think Andy Reid would be less successful with Mahomes, or would Mahomes be less successful with Andy Reid?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
I think
Mahomes, if he was in Belichick, do you think he would be as successful? I don't think he would. I think he needs Andy Reid for his... it wouldn't be fun football for him if he was with Bill Belichick or somebody like that.
He loves it so much. I don't think he'll ever leave there unless Reid does.
He keeps taking pay cut after pay cut after pay cut.
Yeah. I'm just not going to even go that direction, but how much money do you actually need to live your life?
It's a fair question. It's a fair
Bobby,
question.
how much money do you actually need in order to live a free life, not ever having to worry about money for the rest of your life?
Well, I mean, I've never put a number
5
to it,
mil?
but I would argue that it would be much less than what I have now, especially if I buckled down.
I mean, if
I'm a
you
simple man.
5 mil,
I would play for the Philadelphia Eagles for 100 grand a year.
Yeah, Bobby's like, give me that minimum. Give me that minimum paycheck. I don't care.
The minimum paycheck 645,000. So I'll take 100 grand.
And Mahomes is investing in so much right now. Mahomes
He's smart with his money. He's smart with his money.
Dude's gonna have Shaq money. He's gonna have Shaq money.
I would argue that he could have LeBron money.
Oh.
And just,
Mahomes is going to be in a movie.
Do you know how invested Shaq is, dude?
Do you know how invested LeBron is?
Oh, I know.
Like, I'm not a big NBA fan at all, but he has a production company for movies for Hollywood.
Oh, I know.
And I'm not an NBA fan at all, but I think Mahomes is successful because of Andy Reid, but I think Andy Reid could bring characters out of numerous players because he's proven that at every organization he's been with.
But it would have to be somebody that wasn't overly cocky.
Right.
I don't think
he also, I think, would also detour from that person. He would also detour.
I think that's why they work so well together, is because
open-mindedness.
Definitely blocking all lights on my face right now. No, they work really well together because, like, one, Patrick is super creative, and so he gets out there and he reads the scenario, and Andy's always working with him. And so, one, Andy listens to Patrick a lot. Like, their collaboration is off the charts. It's amazing to me. I couldn't believe how much those two communicate and how much Andy takes into consideration everything Patrick is saying. Like at times it feels like Patrick is the offensive coordinator at times, just how well versed and how well understood he is. But that tells you how much prep work they are putting in behind the scenes to study and prepare for what they're doing. And I'm telling you, this is the masterstroke. It really is. It's the perfect storm of a brilliant creative coach mixed with a talented and creative player. And as long as there is a field and there's 13 seconds on the clock, the Chiefs have the ability to get it done. That's all there's to it. Like, I think
the Kansas City Chiefs might be the Alabama of NFL.
I'm willing to agree to that. Let me tell you,
but how many do they have to win? Because right now the Patriots have that title.
But here's what I'm saying. I'm not saying because of how much they've won.
Because everybody wants to go there.
Everybody wants to go there. Who doesn't want to go to Kansas City now?
I think everyone would agree it is the oncoming dynasty. Nobody would deny that the Chiefs are the oncoming dynasty.
I'm shocked that old Hill left us. And here I just said
it was for the money. It was for the money.
Traitor.
Here's the thing. He's still.
I was talking about Chuck being a traitor. He said us.
I said us.
Keep saying us, Chuck. Keep it up, baby. Keep it up. I take great joy in this. I listen. No. Let me add to this. For those of you listening that don't get how funny that is, I listened for years to this Cowboys fan rant and rave about how bad the Chiefs were, because we were bad back then.
Well, Elvis Gerback was bad.
All the smack talk I lived through, and to now hear this man who God has blessed him with a new season and a new ministry and a family and all of these things that have allowed him to step into he's already been a part of the kingdom of heaven, but now he's a part of the red kingdom.
Stop it.
And that's a beautiful
Don't even go
thing.
there. Oh my.
It's not.
I will say this. They have the best fan base in all of the NFL. That's unarguable.
Yes, sir.
The atmosphere when I'm there, like, that, like, where you're at every time you go there. But that's also why I did not like my first time ever going to Arrowhead. Like, I literally did not feel safe, and I wasn't wearing, I was wearing a Dallas shirt, but it was two Chiefs fans fighting each other up in the stands. It's like, why?
They have lots to drink, I'm sure.
They have the best fan base in all of the NFL. Arguably, just because look at the sound level in the stadium. Nobody wants to play there because of the sound level.
Oh gosh, and I remember even as a kid hearing the noise that Arrowhead makes, and just even as a kid, just we always talked about decibels, like turn the TV up, get loud. Like it's how Chiefs football is. It is a loud, passionate game. Oh man, you're
All
right.
right, well,
Love
let's talk one more Chiefs point. DeAndre Hopkins coming?
I don't
No.
think he is. I
Nope.
think he could end up going to. I honestly think he could go up with the Ravens. Scary enough, how that may sound.
I've heard the Ravens. I don't buy it. The
I don't
other
think anybody
team-
wants to clash with what they have going, but I could see him. The Bengals would be scary, even also if if the Bengals got him. Oh man, that's dangerous.
was it?
Is
Was
he
it the
still- is
Rams
he
I was
still
seeing
all
were
that?
interested?
DeAndre Hopkins?
Yeah.
Hopkins? He's still capable.
I would say he is. I would say that he
He's
is.
had multiple seasons with medical problems, right?
No, he was only
Not-
suspended one. He was
Oh.
only suspended for. I forgot what it was. I think it was like doing something out of league standards or something like that. But that's it. Like he had like a toe issue, like when he
I
first
was
went to
gonna
the
say,
Cardinals.
he's had some health issues, but it hasn't been like significant.
Yeah.
His issue's been
What was
he
it,
hasn't
like
had
a-
a quarterback.
Was it 2019 that he had his breakout?
Yeah, that's the year that he didn't drop a pass that came to him.
Yeah, that's insane.
Not one pass was dropped that he touched. That's crazy.
Tell me though, we wouldn't love to have hands like that though. But no, I don't see us. Right now the Chiefs' way it seems like is make yourself.
They don't want it on one
affordable.
player. They don't want to. They don't want to put any too much spotlight.
Affordable because this is a team. This is a team effort.
Maybe
I-
that's why they didn't feel like they were hurting getting rid of Hill.
My hope
They really
and
didn't need
prayer-
Hill.
Yeah, they really
It was good
didn't.
for him. He was
And
good for him when they
because-
needed him.
Even when we had Tyreek was always the danger threat that we would also then use. Like he was always the deep threat, but then we'd use his speed to get our second and third guys open, to get Travis open. So the reality is, like, we're always going to be utilizing all the players. So somebody who's looking to be a locked in number one who gets those numbers, which is what Tyreek wanted, that's not it at the Chiefs. Like
The game plays a lot like how Dreiling did his running backs. He's like, oh, who's got 100 yards? Oh, okay, well, let's put this guy and we'll get him another 80.
Yeah, it's constantly spreading the ball around. I mean, you think about it. Patrick throws on average to 7 to 9 different receivers in a game.
Did you just throw a high school football coach from
No, I'm using that as a reference because, like, we know like what he says on the field.
yeah.
Like he says, how many yards does he have?
Riley?
Oh,
Well,
I would
hang
still,
on.
I'll still use it.
If we're talking about dynasty makers, I mean, seven
state
championships
champions?
in 10 years
Oh, yeah.
that's a dynasty.
But that's how he thought, though. Like if he had a running back who had like 105 yards, right? He would get another running back in to try to get him to 100 yards.
Well,
Same
think about
for
it.
like
It's all about the depth of your roster. It's about making sure you
Right.
can go deep. It's about making sure that the guy who's fifth on the string, who's fifth string on your team, is not fifth string anywhere else. That he would be first or second string anywhere else, but that your depth is so good and talented that they have to sit back there and fight, for that fourth and fifth spot.
And since I didn't play college or NFL, I can't use any other reference. So
i.e., Kansas City Chiefs. When they drafted in the first round, what did they need? Nothing.
nobody knew. Nobody knew what they needed.
We talked
What do you need?
receiver. We
Back-
talked receiver. We talked defensive end. Yeah, backups. Yeah, that's really what we needed. Backups. What do you need? Yeah,
I would
backup.
say I would argue that everybody needs a decent backup offensive line for sure.
Oh,
Always.
absolutely, man.
Always. If you don't have depth in your offensive
Oh, my
line,
word.
you're not going to make it in the NFL.
Oh,
Well,
my
that proved to the Chiefs the year they lost to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
And this
Absolutely.
is everyone will say this. It's the most, I think, just commonly accepted truth when it comes to football, and it's just never talked about. But if you do not have good linemen, your team is not good. Period.
Got that right.
They've got to be good offensive linemen who can block, pass block, rush block, all of it. And good defensive linemen who can get through the other team's pass blockers and rush blockers. Like it
But man,
is-
offense and defense gets all the attention. That offensive line doesn't get any attention. Name me 5 Hall of Fame offensive linemen.
5 of them?
Who,
Like right
you
now?
want me to do that?
Can you name 5 Hall of Fame?
See, this is where we need a call in from Jordan. From what team? What era?
Gosh.
It doesn't matter. Anybody in the NFL, give me offensive linemen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is where we need Jordan.
Tim Grunhard, Willie Rofe. Come on, further back. Come on.
But if I said give me quarterbacks or give me running backs,
I could do 5 easy. I could do 5 easy. Oh, Egghead. He's in the Hall of Fame, I'm sure.
You can name 100 different other players, but I'm just saying.
But you're right.
Offensive linemen are the key.
Right.
100%.
Diamond as a quarterback, but if he doesn't have any time to throw the freaking ball, he's dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you have a diamond back in your running back,
example given.
Line that gives him a hole, he's dead.
Example given. Elvis Grbac.
Yeah, that's a great example. Flip the script on that, and I would say you could counter that, and I would say look at the Cowboys as a great example of what happens when you have a solid offensive line. You could put literally any running back there, and they put up great numbers.
I think we've had more running backs
before Zeke. Who was y'all's star running back?
DeMarco Murray.
Before DeMarco Murray, who was y'all's star running back?
The dude from the Raiders that broke his knee from Wichita. Forgot his name. Broke his knee in college at Arkansas, I do believe.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Went to the Raiders.
But that's kind of my point. Is y'all have consistently had great.
And then before that was Marion Barber.
Yeah, Marion Barber. Y'all consistently had great running backs because it's not really that y'all have great running backs. It's that y'all have consistently gotten good linemen, and y'all make sure you have a good offensive line consistently. And so
until this year, we didn't draft anybody off for the offensive line.
And there you go.
Well, hey, why don't we talk about our last sponsor? Yes, we have 2 sponsors, Chuck. I bet you didn't know that.
That's why it's high end. We got double the sponsorship.
But all we have to do here is that
and wrestling.
Joshua, take it away.
Oh man, let me tell you, Heartland Championship Wrestling, y'all. This is the newest wrestling promotion to come to the Midwest. It is ran by Billy Blade Simmons, and let me tell you,
no relation to Chuck.
No relation.
It's a good name.
But to Joshua,
plenty of relation to me. He's my brother. But no, HCW is phenomenal. Comes with lots of great, like I said, legacy as credible roster that they're putting out right now on all of their socials. They've been promoting them for the last probably 3 or 4 weeks. They've been letting know who all the wrestlers are going to be, and then they have shows coming up. They've already got 2 booked up in Leavenworth. Is that right?
Yeah, they took over the Leavenworth bookings.
Yeah, so all the Leavenworth bookings are happening. So if you're in Leavenworth, make sure you catch one of those shows. If you're more so in Hutch or Salina, stuff like that, I know there's getting shows booked there. Make sure to check their socials.
They're waiting on a venue is all they're waiting for here. But right now, their Facebook is popping.
I know. He and I have talked a few times, and he's like itching to get this deal locked in with his venue so that he can announce some shows in Hutch. It's going to be good. But
that is HCW is it at HCW or at HCW Live 23?
Yeah, HCW Live 23.
So that's all of them.
Like in high school, college wrestling.
No, this is WWE.
This is WWE Sport Wrestling. This is entertainment wrestling.
You guys did some of that, didn't you?
Oh, we did a ton of it. We are some of the original artists under Billy Blade Simmons. I wrestled in the backyard of my house under his tutelage, as did Jordan and Bobby. Bobby did.
I enjoyed No Broken Bones my entire life, so I didn't take a part in as much. So
he was less.
Not a big fan of heights. So
Jordan was the one doing front flips off of the roof. That was not so much Bobby and I. Although I was always up for a good gimmick. I was the guy who would run into the ring and get hit and immediately get beat like in 3 seconds. for like
Josh is the one that got tapped out by a dog
yeah, I lost a wrestling match to a dog
via video camera.
That one was fun. That was stupid. It was I was the ultimate jobber, is what that's called. It's the person who just goes in to lose the matches and is just there as kind of a presence. And I was having fun with it. That's a fun bit. So,
but go follow Heartland Championship Wrestling over on the Facebooks.
Yeah, go catch some of their matches. They've got some good ones.
All right, Chuck.
Oh, we got last questions here or what?
Oh, no last questions. I got one other thing here, and then I was going to give you the option to either just jump right into a draft that we normally do, or I was going to have you play a game called Hot Seat. But right here, do you have any shows? Like right now, I want to highlight one thing, and I want to say farewell and goodbye to Ted Lasso. That was one great show.
Yes.
Have you seen that, Chuck?
I'm so glad that you.
No, I'm not a Ted Lasso fan.
Have you seen it though?
No. Is it worth?
Okay. Oh man. Okay, you're talking about coaches bringing a character-driven team together. This is 100% like the diagram of how to do that.
Yep.
Okay.
Ted Lasso is like the upbeat, positive, energetic force that you want in a coach. He's perfect. He's every bit of the Lasso way that they talk about in the show is great. And it's every bit of the relational, kind of humble but like funny, just personality driven,
family driven.
Yeah, it's so good. You'll love it. It's good stuff. Now, behind the scenes of the show, there's plenty happening.
Do not watch this in front of kids because there is bad language outside of Ted Lasso himself. Okay. So this is for your eyes only, probably.
It's Apple TV, so you can imagine that there's plenty of subliminal messages happening there.
And they're in Europe, so.
But like conceptually,
soccer team.
Yeah, because it's about soccer. Yeah, it happens. It happens not in London, but in England.
It's in England, and what actually the premise behind it all, which I found to be very, very cool, is that he was actually the head coach for the Wichita State Shockers football team, our football, and then
as we all know, doesn't exist because
since 1967 or whatever year that was. Crash. But that's what's funny about it. Yeah. I think it was 67. It could be wrong. I don't know.
The whole team.
But you have to watch it from there and then get the premise about what the owner is actually trying to do to the team for you to understand and be comfortable with, like where you think it's going to go, because it's not at all where you think it's going to go. But a very good watch. So I think that they did change the future of writing for sports, or actually almost all TV, for just that show by itself.
Can you stream it now?
Bold statement.
Yeah. All 4 seasons.
You get an Apple device.
Right on. Sounds good. I might give it a shot.
Well, are you watching anything with the wife, Chuck, that is worth noting that maybe we might take a liking to?
What are we watching? I got a 12-year-old, man. I have to fight over the remote.
So okay? Disney.
What is she watching?
Disney's pretty hot. And everything that my 21-year-old daughter watched, my 12-year-old daughter is now watching.
Well, at least that's good.
So what does that include?
Huh?
What does that include? What are we talking about there? We're talking about like 2000s rom-coms?
We got the iCarly. We got the Zoe 101. We've got the
Drake and Josh.
No, she hasn't gotten
not quite that far back.
There's Sunny with something.
Always Sunny in Philadelphia?
No.
I was like, what?
But it's
Sunny
all
with a side of.
I don't know. She could tell me.
Yeah.
She's got, it's a new one every day. She's got what was that? The Wizards of Waverly Place. She was watching that.
Oh, Heather loved that one growing up.
I mean, she's watching the old school stuff, which you guys would consider old school. So that's what
actually everything that you named, I've never heard of.
But Josh is on board.
I know it all.
So of course we're watching Chosen. That's good stuff,
dude. Okay. I'm gonna make a confession here because I can. I should be better about this, but it's season 3, right? I'm just now watching season 1.
Were you like avoiding it? Were you having a bad
Kind of.
attitude?
No. I didn't have any issues with it. I hadn't quite committed to watching it, and I just like, I don't know. When the first season came out, I was like, oh yeah, that looks cool. That looks interesting. And then we started to watch it as a small group. I think that's been what the issue is. I've been wanting to watch it, but every time I've went to watch it, I've committed to watching it with other people. And so I haven't ended up watching it. We were going to watch it with a small group. The small group kind of dissipated after about 4 weeks. And so we didn't get through but more than 3 episodes. I enjoyed what I watched of it. And I was like, okay, there's a decent amount of like the biblical context that it provides. And it tweaks some stuff like it has I think if I remember right, and this is such a small detail, but it was one that I noticed was when Jesus calls the disciples to follow him, they're all in the same boat together.
Right.
And scripturally, the only difference that I could see is it says that Jesus went a little further on and called the sons of Zebedee. So, and it's like, that's such a finite point that I'm not going to get worked up over that detail. And it's like, that's the thing that they miss on, but everything else like creates this culture, this environment that helps understand what's happening with scripture. Like, it's really well done. So I'm on episode 5 of season 1, and I'm loving it. Like, it's so good. But I'm slow watching it. And I told Heather, I was like, we're gonna watch it together too. But I'm also slow watching it myself.
Well, what I like about it is they have an outline that is biblically sound. Okay?
Yes.
Their basic outline is biblically sound, but they are taking liberties to fill the gaps.
Yeah, they fill it in with the artistic probability of what culture would have been like. And that's the thing. This isn't just like fabricated information. This is rooted in like massive amounts of research on historical Jewish culture and things like that. And so it's like, it's really, the best way to put it is, it's one of the coolest ways to see the culture of the Bible come alive. Not just the words of it, but the culture of the Bible come alive.
Well, my household is basically made up of my wife has her shows, I have my shows, and Anna has her shows.
So not a whole lot of family watching together.
We've got a few shows that we watch together, and so.
Can I recommend a movie?
We really have gotten into like Mysteries at the Museum and stuff like that. So it's a kind of a history type thing, and I love that she's getting into that. So
can I recommend a movie for you?
Bobby?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Did you like the movie Gran Torino with Clint Eastwood?
Yeah.
Okay. Imagine that
you couldn't watch it with your daughter, but
right. Okay. Now imagine if they made a movie for that, like that you could, but in the same, I guess, idea of a movie without the racism and the vulgar language, right?
Right.
There's a movie that Tom Hanks has called A Man Named Otto. And I was oddly surprised at how close of a storyline that it follows, like Gran Torino, all the way to the very end. And when I say that, just think about the car. Okay.
Right.
But I highly recommend that. That's on Netflix.
I'll give it a shot. I'll have to watch it. We'll see.
Very decent Tom Hanks movie, and nothing's going to beat Forrest Gump for me, but it can try.
The thing that pops into my mind whenever you say Tom Hanks now is that I watched it was just a Facebook thing, I think, but it was Tom Hanks and Jim Carrey and a lot of just old actors sitting around, a bunch of guys just sitting around.
Yeah, one of those round table discussions.
Yeah. And he said,
I love those.
He said, one thing that you can always count on. He says, this too will pass.
Yep.
He says, if you have great success, this too will pass. If you're getting bad scripts and you're hitting bottom, this too will pass. And it was really cool because all the old actors were just sitting there going, oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
They get it. They've lived it.
So I used that as a sermon illustration. So
awesome.
Actually, I'm going to use that at camp this week. So
cool.
This too will pass.
Well, outside of the entertainment, think about what Josh has to do for a sermon. He's got to plan one with a fanny pack.
Oh man, dude.
What?
You know what the worst part is? Bobby or Kent, our senior pastor, is doing a series on like spiritual disciplines, and so I have a feeling I'm gonna find a way to utilize that in one of the ones that I teach there, like being at the ready or preparedness or something. I don't know. But
You got
it's
a
gonna be
fanny pack
something.
that you're loving on?
So I've always despised fanny packs. I think they should have died in the 90s when they first came out. I think whoever made them should probably that's if we ever invent time travel, that's the first one we should go back and have a conversation with.
Or
Like, let's get rid of fanny packs first.
Or something.
Hate them. So Bobby sees that as an invitation because Bobby. He sees that as an invitation to get to then torment me with a fanny pack. And last football season, we made a bet early on in the show that I would find a way, if I lost, that I would find a way to preach with a fanny pack on. And so that's what I have to do. I have to find a way to get a fanny pack on in my sermon and utilize it like as a.
And let's not forget, you found out a way to use it outside of the.
Let's not talk about finding an actual
Here you go, bro. I got one for you. You ready?
Yes.
Spiritual disciplines in Bible study, not just Bible reading, but Bible study.
Okay.
You need to bring out like colored pencils. You need to bring out all kinds of stuff.
Oh my! The tools that we keep at hand. Oh my!
Highlighters.
I can
note cards. You can bring all kinds of stuff out of your fanny pack.
If this collection of decorative scissors is an indicator of what kind of person my wife is, you can imagine how much of that stuff I have in my house too.
All right, Chuck.
You know what? We are all married to very creative, crafty women. Let's just.
My wife is right now working on I guess a craft for 4th of July. So
I think Heather's crafting too right now.
Wreaths for every holiday. She does all kinds of things.
Yep.
Has your wife tried to convince you to let you leave up the Christmas tree year-round, Chuck? And just decorate it for different seasons?
When I lived by myself, I'd leave my Christmas lights up. My wife.
No.
Oh yeah, under balcony window.
Like walking into your balcony in like June, and the white lights are up on the. I just thought it was like a decoration thing. I wasn't even thinking that it was Christmas lights.
It was good decoration. Hey, why take it down?
Oh my, Chuck.
Well, Chuck, on this part, I'm going to let you choose. You either could do we could do both. It depends on your time. 3 rounds of this game called Hot Seat, or we'll end it off with a top 5 draft. And I actually created the draft according to what I believe that you would find fun. So I'll let you choose. Well, the draft is going to be, we will draft our top 5. And since you're the guest, you'll get to choose the order. You'll either be able to choose to go first, second, or third. First.
I don't even have my
draft style.
Well, hold on. That's the fun part, because I think you're going to be great at this. And that's why I chose this, because I didn't write anything down. And I know Josh couldn't, because he never does.
Yeah.
So I'll let you know the draft, and then I'll let you choose. So the draft is going to be our top 5 classic rock songs. Or we could play 3 rounds of Hot Seat.
All right. Hey, let's try Hot Seat.
All right.
Let's do it. Hot Seat's fun. Can be a little inappropriate at times, but
all right. No, that's the other one, Josh.
Oh, is the other one the inappropriate one?
The other one
right. is. This is the one where we guess what his answer would be.
And you choose the one that you think would fit you best, or the one that you like best.
Oh, I like that.
So I'm going to ask you a question on a card, and then me and Josh, you'll think of it, and you tell us when you're ready, and then you say who you want to hear from first, and we'll tell you our thoughts, and then you'll get to choose.
All right. It doesn't seem too
you'll be the first guy to go first, and then we'll do 3 rounds. So we'll have 3 cards for you, 3 cards for Josh, and 3 cards for I. All right. This is for Chuck. What is one skill Chuck would love to have?
One skill Chuck
would love to have.
Can I ask my wife? Can I put you on mute?
Sure.
Yes.
No, I'm kidding.
A skill Chuck would love to have.
Boy, when you put skill out there, that opens up everything.
And you don't have to have an answer. Like you could just say, yeah, you want to hear from Josh or I, and then we come up with our own, and then you choose.
Oh, good.
So you don't even have to actually have one unless we actually choose it right on the dot.
All right. I will choose Josh.
Oh gosh. Okay, I'm still processing. Hang on. Give me 5 seconds and I'll come up with an answer. The skill of asking questions that create more conversation.
Ooh, that's deep.
That's really deep. Why would you ever say that?
Bobby?
I'm sorry. Like it was an answer. Like it's all I could come up with.
So now I ask Bobby, and I get to pick.
Now,
Yeah,
I think
and then you pick
Chuck's
which one you
skill
like.
that he wishes he would have would be to be able to dunk on a 10-foot basketball goal.
Now I got to choose one, huh?
Yeah.
As I'm getting older, I'd love to dunk on a basketball.
There you go, baby.
There we go.
Admit it.
Yeah,
Admit it. Those
Can you
knees
imagine-
aren't what they used to be, man. It would be great to be able to dunk again.
Can you imagine
Forever.
having a 57-year-old guy slam dunk on a goal?
Bro,
Right.
that would be
Like going down to like an open court. Going down to an open court.
Down just at an open court on the beach or something. and
Man,
see you
I can
just
make money on that
dunk.
too.
Oh, that would be
Who'd
funny.
think that
How do you do this? You bounce it,
old man can?
and then you just windmill it.
Yeah, baby.
Oh, hey, I made it.
All right, this next one's for Joshua. All right.
Okay.
What
Hit me with
is Josh obsessed with? Ooh.
Can you pick one thing?
Well, you have to pick one thing. We just have to pick one thing that we want to say.
I have a handful of answers.
What is Josh obsessed with?
We're gonna take the number one answer off the table. Take Jesus off the table. That's kind of too easy. All Sunday school answers come off.
Obsessed with, huh?
Obsessed with.
What are you obsessed?
And I know what my answer would be, just because I've been accused of it multiple times.
By who?
Numerous people.
Okay.
My wife.
Even me?
Yeah.
Oh no. Are we going there?
I mean,
Bobby, I think you know too much here.
Well, no. Well, I mean, like we have this running joke about Josh being sensitive, so I didn't know if that was a
that's great. No, that's a good bit, though. That's a good bit to bring up. Oh no, I'm not obsessed with other people's
not
thoughts
being
and opinions.
sensitive.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with.
So yeah, I mean, I
people's
guess I got one.
Yeah,
All right,
Chuck
let
is
me-
ready.
Let me hear your thoughts, Bobby. What do you think?
I think that you're obsessed with finishing something you start.
Ooh.
And I think Chuck just cut out, so he'll have to come back in.
I see that. That's a very good answer, by the way. Finishing something that I start. I very much so do not like.
We can see you, Chuck.
Finish things. We can see you, Chuck, but we haven't heard you try to talk yet. So
Here, let me text.
yeah, just
this
let him know.
number.
Well, he froze again, so he may be
Yeah.
having issues. But yeah, for me, gosh, ooh, that's a good one, Bobby. Finishing things that I start. That's true. But then I also I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I get overwhelmed sometimes and then I don't finish. And I hate that. Like I think that's one of the features about myself that I don't like is that if I get too overwhelmed and don't want to finish something, then I just kind of abandon it. And that's something I don't
And
like.
that's why I figured you'd be obsessed with it.
Yeah.
It's almost like OCD.
Yeah,
Hey, there he
I
is.
would agree with that. Hey, Jeff.
What was the answer?
He said obsessed with finishing something
that you
Ooh.
start.
and I said that's actually true. I said the times when I fail to finish something, I end up feeling so much shame over it that I hate it. And so yeah, it does create in me this like obsession to finish stuff so that I don't fail it, so that I don't drop the ball, even if it's not perfect, even if it's not great. At least I didn't fail. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So yeah, that's good. That's a good point. Chuck, what's your answer? What do you think I would be obsessed with?
I was gonna say Hawaiian shirts. Because you do like Andy Reid a lot.
Are you sure you don't want to say cutoff shirts?
Maybe cutoff shirts.
How much did I wear those in high school?
But I'm going to say obsessed with preparing the perfect sermon.
Ooh, that's good.
Yeah, I'm going to go ministerial on you.
Okay. So Chuck is so right about this too, because anybody, if you've listened to a sermon, there's a million different ways to preach a sermon. Expos, situational, topical. You can go Old Testament, New Testament. You can go, singular point. You can go story. I've heard, and because there are so many different ways to preach, there really isn't like a perfect sermon, and yet every sermon has to have its own level of perfection. You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
And so, like, yeah, I 100%. Oh man, that's so good. Like that got me, Chuck.
So that's the one you're choosing, right?
Me. Yeah,
no,
I gotta go with it. No, that's so good. Like, I love variety in my preaching. I don't try to preach the same style every time. And yet, like with each one that I do, I want to be true to the text, and I want to make sure that I'm doing it to the best of my ability. Like, and actually scratch that, not to the best of my ability, but preparing myself so that God can go beyond my ability. Because that's the thing, man. Like, it's not what I can do, but rather what God can do through what I've prepared. And it's a million times more than just what I'm capable of. So, all right, let's move on. Question.
All right. So my card is, what would I put in a time capsule today to remind me of my life in 10 years? To remind.
I think you would put in.
I guess he's just going to jump in line, Chuck.
Oh, yeah, sorry.
He's obsessed with cutting lines.
I have an answer.
I have one.
Chuck, let's hear Chuck since Josh tried to cut. Let's hear yours, Chuck.
That's a jerk, Bobby.
I think you're going to go. I think you're going to put a container of beard butter and a miniature Dallas Cowboy helmet.
All right, Josh.
Die hard, baby. You're sticking
right,
with.
I was
haven't left.
A picture of the grandbaby.
Oh, there you go.
A bag of beef jerky. A bag of beef jerky, and the first episode of both the Recess Ruckus and the Chubby Buddy podcast on a flash drive. That's what goes.
Oh, you're bringing both of your sponsors in. What in the world?
No. That's the name of this podcast, is the Chubby Buddy podcast. And then Bobby has his own podcast where he interviews people called the Recess Ruckus podcast. Okay.
I saw that.
And it's really good. It's good, yeah.
It's on the same YouTube channel, but
yeah.
He had Megan on there a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago, and then that's shortly after that episode was Mother's Day, and then my computer crashed.
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. Sorry, Bobby.
You got to go with Josh. He's got the details on you, baby.
I would go with Josh just because of the podcast, and then the picture thing, that's Jamie's thing. I don't need pictures to be happy, but yeah, I would like to do the podcast just to see what happens.
I mean, why do you pretend that you don't care so hard?
Hey, it's not that I don't care. I'm just not somebody that like needs a picture. Like, I would rather not have a picture.
That's so ridiculous.
Like mementos are kind of like the little Dallas mini helmet or something like that. That'd be pretty cool with the 2 first episodes of each podcast.
There you go.
Just to see how
combination of our answers, huh?
Yeah.
All right, so we'll each take a half point.
A half point.
All right. So here's Chuck's second question.
Right.
What future invention is Chuck really looking forward to? I got my answer.
Future invention.
future invention is Chuck
I got
looking
mine
forward
too.
to?
I know what mine is.
Who do you want to hear from first, Chuck?
Go ahead, Bobby.
Flying vehicles.
Ooh.
That's mine. Or flying Toyota Tacoma.
I still have it parked in the.
I was going to ask.
You're
I was going
lying.
to ask.
What?
I love that truck.
I still drive it.
No way.
Yeah, baby.
Probably got 300,000 miles on it. It's a Toyota. That thing will last forever.
Yeah.
That thing's going to last forever.
Odometer and speedometer don't even work on it anymore. I don't even know how many miles are on it.
That is awesome.
What's your answer, Josh?
All right. He may actually disagree with me, but I think it's going to be cool that when we can truly experience VR sports games.
We already can.
No. Like, sorry, VR sports experience. Like being able to go to
like
an
at a
OU
game.
Yeah, like
Okay.
VR experience.
I think you can with select a seat. You can actually watch the game from a seat. They already have that.
Oh,
you can buy a ticket online, and if you have the Oculus, you can literally see a 360 view from that seat that you bought.
I mean,
you want to change your answer?
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, obviously, if that tech already exists, then
I figured he would be the first to know about it. Elon Musk Jr.
Elon. Oh gosh. The technology that's allowed. Hang on. Ugh. I don't know, man. That totally threw me for a loop. How about the technology when we get to Back to the Future tech, when you can stick just a little thing into a microwave and it boom zaps it and turns it into a whole meal.
Taco Bell.
Taco Bell.
From Back to the Future. Domino's, Taco Bell.
Yeah. That's
I was thinking about
that tech.
Teleportation. That's what was.
Whoa.
But I don't know. I'll be around before, while that's. But Bobby, I have to go with the flying car. That's pretty
flying cars. Jetsons had it made for sure.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, here's Josh's second question, and oddly enough, it is perfect. What strange food combination does Josh love?
Ooh.
Do you know these things already, Bobby?
He has a ton of them, so there is no one right answer, I don't think. I think if you've been around Josh when he eats, I think you could actually guess at least 1 out of 10.
But a food combination.
You want me to change?
Weird food habits? That one would be really...
Well, here's another one that sort of falls in line with what you just said. What makes people gasp when Josh tells them that he don't like that?
Oh, I could list a few things. Yeah. I have.
So which do you want to go with, Chuck?
Makes people gasp.
Let's go with the second one.
Okay. What makes people gasp when they hear that he does not like it? I already got mine.
I know what statistically the answer is. Where I've gotten the most gasps. Yeah, where I've gotten the most gasps from.
I think I know what it is too.
Oh, I'm sure.
I wonder if Chuck does.
I got no clue.
We'll find out. What food do you think I don't like?
Oh, pizza.
That's literally one of my favorite foods, Chuck.
Oh, okay.
I love pizza.
Drop the chart on that one.
Well, we're going to hear Chuck
gasp a lot of people. Yeah.
I think we're going to hear Chuck gasp when he finds out the real answer.
All right. Do you know the real
I'm curious as to what...
Chicken on the bone.
Oh, you don't like chicken on the bone? Somehow I think I remember that.
To be clear, yes. And to be clear, it's not that I don't like chicken on the bone. I do.
He don't
Chicken
like
on
his
the bone
teeth
is
to
fine.
touch the bone.
It's-
I do
I
remember
don't like
that.
to eat the chicken.
I do
on the
remember
bone.
that.
Like, if
So
my
if you were
teeth-
to take a fork and you were able to pick it off the bone, you'd be good to go.
I will with my fingers pick the meat off the bone, no problem. But if my teeth, while I'm eating that meat, touch that bone, my appetite's done. I'm done. Like it just.
But let's be clear, Josh did have some wings at the draft.
Oh, they were good.
Right off the
Bone in?
bone.
They
Bone
were
in?
good. Yep.
Right off the
in,
bone.
and
They were
then
some of the best wings
pull
I've
that
ever
meat
had.
Right off.
Ooh,
Delicious.
We went to a couples retreat and went to this little pub, and they had this honey barbecue with a kick.
Ooh.
It was awesome. I think the best hot wings are found in those little pubs.
Heck yeah. Absolutely.
Hole in the wall bars for sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
just a little hole in the wall bars.
The other one that always throws people for a loop is rice. I'm not a fan of rice.
See, that doesn't surprise me. There's so many people that don't like rice.
It's a texture thing for me.
Rice is
It's
nice.
just like the texture of rice is.
Huh.
I don't like it. I
Unless
found
it's in one dish.
So far, I found one dish, crawfish etouffee. That
Little
somebody
Cajun.
made that was
You
really
go for a
good.
little
Yeah.
Cajun. Then, is that what
Go
you're
for a
saying?
little Cajun. The flavors of the crawfish and the seasoning, just whatever reason, like the whole texture all together, the andouille sausage with it, it didn't bother me to eat the rice with it. Like the rice texture wasn't bothering me in that. But everywhere else, gumbo, jambalaya, any way that I've had rice, I've not liked it.
All
That's
right.
all. It has everything to do with texture. The flavor is good. I love the different ways it's flavored. I just can't stand the texture of it.
All right, I got my second card. Chuck, do you have do you have time for one more round for each, or do you want to call this it?
Let's call this it.
All right.
Last
I
card.
gotta put some Kims in the pool and pack for camp tomorrow.
That's why I'm asking you. All right. So here's the last card for me. What would I do to pass the time if I was stuck in an elevator for hours?
By yourself?
Yes.
By yourself?
It doesn't specify, so yeah, we'll say by myself.
Can I give my answer?
Sure.
Play with the buttons. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
It depends if you have a phone or not.
Oh. Do you have internet? It doesn't say, huh?
That's what I'm saying. If I had a phone, I would probably say, I mean, I don't think the buttons, but pre-1999, yeah, I probably hit the buttons.
Yeah,
but
I'm picturing,
but it doesn't
no
specify.
Phone, no
But
nothing.
let's
What does
yeah,
it do?
I don't have a
Just
phone or
play
nothing.
with the buttons.
I think you're on
But
your
I
phone.
have something in mind, and Josh didn't say it, but I'll see what you have, Chuck.
My wife's giving me answers.
Give it. Let's hear it, Andrea. What do you think?
She said make faces at the camera, but that kind of goes with pushing the button.
No, I love that. That's perfect too. He would just sit there and make faces.
What
in the
I was
mirror,
thinking
do a
was
flash.
making the ugliest face in either my reflection or the camera that was in there.
Booyah! Thank you, honey.
And then my second one was going to be coming up with my own rap.
Oh my, yes,
That'd be
we
fun.
did that so much as kids. Oh my god.
This
writing
is
our
the
own
way
rap.
I dip.
Little boy putting in his cool whip.
Packing his can, put it in his lip.
That's right.
Well, Chuck, hey, I appreciate you coming on. This was fun. We'll have to do it again
Bobby,
sometime.
I have thought about you all the time. I just never have gotten the opportunity to reconnect, baby.
Well, hey, if that's your number, is that your number or your wife's?
Yeah, it's my number.
All right. Well, I'll save it because it came up as some weird name.
Does it end in 6-4?
Well, no, the name for like who it said was calling me. I was like, who in the world is this?
This says
S. Suarez.
Suarez. I used to be Sebastian.
Yeah, this one says
Sebastian.
S. Suarez.
S. Suarez.
So
I was
yeah,
like,
there's still
Suarez.
Florida numbers. So
Yeah, it said Florida. I was like, who do I know with the last name Suarez? I was like, all right,
And I
I'm
was
going to
like, I
answer
don't know,
White
just
House
answer.
switchboard. I normally answer White House switchboard.
White House switchboard.
ooh, I'd like that. All right.
But hey, it was a good time hanging out. I hope you can come on again, but I appreciate you taking the time. I know that you got a big weekend ahead of you.
Yes, sir. Big week with high school camp. So
Thanks,
we
Chuck. We love you.
for a dog.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna box him up and send him to one of you guys.
All right, go for it. We got dogs.
I think it's cruel to leave a dog at home. I ain't home long enough.
Yeah,
I'm volunteering my family, but I'm leaving for Monday through Wednesday for class up at Ozark. So.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
Are you still taking some classes? Sorry.
I am. Yeah. I'm working on my.
He's going for his master's
right now.
You taking old what's his face? Old Shane Wood.
Shane Wood is actually the director of the whole program.
Right.
Of the masters. So I haven't gotten to take any classes from him yet, but I'm going to. This summer, I'm just taking them with Michael DeFazio. Okay. You might recognize him. He's done speaking for CIY a few times.
Right.
But he's one of the professors there at Ozark. He's so phenomenal.
Right.
So that's kind of what I've been doing. In fact, I got to go back to working on that homework now that we're all done. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Man, I love you guys so much.
Love you too, man.
Man.
And before you actually go, I'm gonna hit the record, and then we'll say our other goodbyes after this is over.
Oh, are we gonna do our? Are we gonna say goodbye? All right, so we'll say goodbye. All right, bye.
Bye.